The Evergreen state is more than just green, from rolling wheat fields to snow-capped mountains and surrounded by nature. Washington was the first and only to be named for a president.
I think Washington is beautiful.
1851 is where it all begins. Just 3 years after the Oregon Territory was established, settlers north of the Columbia wanted to separate.
Essentially, the reason why they wanted to split was they lacked representation.
That's Jennifer Kilmer, director of the Washington State Historical Society.
The settlers who were settling north of the Columbia River wanted services.
2 conventions called the Cowlitz and Monticello conventions would take place over the next couple years. The Cowlitz one decided on a name. And if you're thinking it's Washington, that's a little later in the story.
They wanted it to be Columbia Territory. Yeah. And, I think naturally that just came from the dividing line was the Columbia River.
Makes sense. Then a year after that, during the Monticello Convention, delegates drafted a memorial and fired it off to Congress, asking to establish the Columbia Territory. Oregon's territorial governor Joseph Lane and the legislature even giving it a thumbs up. So on March 2nd, 1853, Congress passed the bill creating the new territory. But not everyone liked the name.
So they say they want Columbia, and there's a representative from Kentucky who says, that'll be way too confusing because we already have District of Columbia. And actually at that time, it was called the Territory of Columbia.
So for various reasons, U.S. legislators proposed Washington after the first president. And as any resident of Washington will tell you, that's not confusing to anyone.
I mean, if you say you're from Washington, they will assume that you are from Washington, D.C.
Washington remained the territory's name, and you'd think the story ended here. But wait, there's more. During a lecture in 1885 to the American Geographical Society, prominent lawyer David Dudley Field II proposed that instead of naming places after famous people, they should be changed to native names. So in a path to statehood,
he says we should name it the state of Tacoma.
That obviously was denied because on November 11th, 1889, this telegram was sent from the Secretary of State saying the president signed the proclamation declaring Washington to be a state in the Union. It was the 42nd state admitted, and that's what's in a name.